Welcome to Everyday Linux User. In today's video I'm going to show you how to customize a Cinnamon desktop. Now you can see on my desktop here I have these desklets, I have some custom applets, my panel is transparent, and if I show you my record window you can see it pops out like that. If I minimize it zooms in like that. If I open up a file explorer you can see it comes in that way, and if I close it it goes out in that way. And so we've got all sorts of different effects going on. And so what I'm going to show you is how to add the effects, how to add the desklets, how to add the applets, how to make the panel transparent, and how to make your applications transparent, and also how to install different themes. So we'll start off with the easy one. We'll start off with the theming. So if I go to my Linux Mint icon down in the bottom here, I'm assuming you're using Linux Mint because it's Cinnamon and that's the main one for Linux Mint, but you could be using Ubuntu as well. But for Linux Mint you just type in themes and it comes up with this icon here, and you see that comes into play. Now generally speaking, if you're using Mint you'll see this window here and you've got different styles, so you can choose the 3 different Mint options. You can also choose mixed mode, dark mode or light mode, but you can see I'm in custom mode, and what that means is if I go into advanced settings I can choose a different theme for my mouse pointer, for my applications, for my icons and my desktop. Now if I go into my desktop you can see that when I click here my menu is a nice dark colour with a white border, but if I click here I can choose a different theme. So now when I click here you can see it's changed, and I click here and I can go for maybe it's straightforward Cinnamon, and then it's like that, or I can go back to a light mode, and we can change the applications to also use the light mode. And you see my windows have now gone light and my menu system's gone light, but I don't think that looks particularly good, so we're going to go back to material and we'll go back to material here. It's worth noting you can install your own themes. So if we go into the themes here it will show you a list of themes by popularity, so you can install any one you want, and all you have to do so the most popular one is obviously this adapter Nocto, so if I click here and click download we can have a look at that. So if we go into themes and we click here and we click here and we've got this one here, so you can see how that's changed the menu system there, and that's apparently one of the most popular themes there is. You can also have icon themes, so these are all the different icon themes you've got, and you've got mouse pointer that you can choose as well. Under settings you've got different things you can do here: show icons in menu, show icons in buttons, jump to position when clicking in a trough. I'm not sure what that means. And then you can override the current system's scroll bar width. But me personally, I like this material black theme, so I'm going to go back to that. So the next thing I'm going to show you is desklets. So the desklets are these things on here, and if we go into this menu again and we type desklets, this is the list of desklets that I have installed. These don't all come as default as part of Linux Mint, but you can go to the download tab, and again it's sorted by popularity, and you can install the ones you want just by clicking it and clicking the install icon here. So these are all the ones that are available to you. Now the ones I've chosen to use are the analog chronometer, which is this clock up here, disk space, which is this here, then we've got a simple system monitor, which is this thing here, and then we've got the monitor graph, which is this. So you can see any point in time we've got this is how much memory I'm using, how much CPU usage, etc. Now for each one of these you can also configure the settings on them. So for this clock I can change the clock style from light, dark, transparent, custom. I can show you the second hand if I want to show the second hand. We can hide the decorations or not hide them, so if I minimize that you'll see it's got a border around it now, but I prefer to have that hidden. And you can change the time zones, etc. So each of these desklets has their own set of settings that you can configure for them. So for instance you can choose which file system to use, the action on mouse click, and design visuals. Personally I liked it as it was before. So that is desklets, and you can add them and remove them at will. So if I wanted a different clock desklet I can just click that and you can see I've got a digital clock now, and you can drag it anywhere you want on the screen, but you only really need one clock on your screen, but now I seem to have three. So I'm going to remove that one off like that. And then on the general settings tab you've got options like to snap your desklets to a grid and the width of the grid, and you can lock the desklets in their current positions. If I go like that they can't now be moved around. The next thing I'm going to show you extensions. So if I go to the Linux Mint menu and type in extensions, and these are the things that give you a decoration on your screen. So you can see I've got these 5 installed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up wobbly windows, and if I now move the windows around you can see my windows wobble. Now I'm not a big fan of that one, it kind of tears up the screen a little bit anyway. It's kind of a novelty for about 5 minutes and then it will drive you mad, so I turn that one off. But these things are quite nice. So burn my windows, that is what happens when you close your window, or open your window. So if I open that up and I close it, you can see it has that effect, and you can configure the effects that go on. So you can see I've got them randomized, so open windows randomized, close windows randomized. But if you want one that you particularly like, for instance if you want to do the pixel wheels, you can just choose that, and now when I close the window you can see it does a pixel effect. And you can do a little bit more than that. You can go into the effect settings and you can see how long that lasts for. But personally I quite like it on randomized. And these are all the random effects that take place. It's quite nice. The next one we've got is a desktop cube, so that can be activated by, and this basically shows all your workspaces but in a cube effect. So if I press Ctrl Alt and right, you can see it does this cube effect, and I can go all the way back to the beginning like that. And if we go into the settings of that one, you can change the animation duration. So if I make it long like that, you can see it takes quite a long time to get to the different workspaces. And whilst it might look nice doing that, it would drive you mad if you needed to get from one workspace to another and it took that long. So having the effect is good as long as it does it promptly. Similarly, the actual grid itself, we can make it short like that, and therefore it's quite a big chunk of the screen it uses. Or we can make it really small like this, and there's now a tiny cube. Again, I like it somewhere in the middle. And there are other settings here as well that you can do, like the different effects. So if I do bounce, when I go to another workspace, you can see it bounces. The next effect I've got is Magic Lamp. Now if Burn My Windows works off of the close button, then Magic Lamp effect works off the minimize. So if I get a file manager open and I minimize, you can see it shoots back down into the thing, and if I bring it back up, it shoots back up as if it's like coming from the genie's lamp. And the settings for this one is how long the effect lasts and how wide it is, and the type of effect. You can use default or sine. And the next one is transparent panels, and that's how you get your panel here transparent. And if you go into the settings, you can adjust the opacity of that panel as follows. And you can say always transparent, yes or no, and use just custom panel colors. And you can choose which panels are affected if you've got more than one panel, that is. So how do you install more extensions? Again, you can go into the download option, and these aren't there by default. I've installed all of these. Essentially you just go into the download, and it's again sorted by popularity, and then you can find the ones you like and click on the download link. And once you've downloaded them, when you go into the manage, you click the plus to turn them on and the minus to turn them off. So the next thing I'm going to show you are the applets in the bottom right corner. Now you can see here I have this radio applet, and it's got a various different radio stations set up, and I've got this change background applet, so I can change the background at will. And all of these are different kinds of applets. So how do you add applets in? Well, you can go up here and you can type applets, or you can right click here and you can choose applets here. So these are the ones I've got installed. So better backgrounds is the thing that changes your background wallpaper. So all I have to do is click there and change background. And sometimes you'll change the background and it will make your desklets look invisible because it's too bright. You can either change the background or you can change the desklet itself. So you can see I've got the better backgrounds for the backgrounds, and you can see I've got this radio one for the radio here, and anything with a tick is an applet. So we've got a calendar and that sits under the clock like that, and then you've got the corner bar. So we've got Expo, and if I click here, that displays my workspaces in this fashion, and you can add new workspaces in. We've got favorites, grouped window list, various other ones. So we've got the main Linux menu, and one I wanted to show you was the Cinnamon menu. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn off the main menu here, and to turn off a menu you click it and you click on the minus, and you can see my menus disappeared. If I go up here and I activate Cinnamon menu, you can see it's gone here. But what we can do is we can go into edit mode and we can drag that to the left, and then we exit edit mode, and that will now work. I'm going to change the background again because it's gone a bit too light. And when I click on the menu, you can see we've got this nice new snazzy menu, which is different from the main Mint menu. And everything's iconized as opposed to just being text. So that's quite nice. As I said before, each of these applets have settings against them. So for better backgrounds, if I go into the settings, you've got general behavior settings, and so you've got this one called show notifications on problems. You probably don't want that one enabled, because if it struggles to download a background, do you really care? Do you really want a notification showing? No, you don't. But some interesting settings are the ones down here. You can choose it to change the background after so many minutes. So in my case it's 15 minutes, which is why it changed the background automatically whilst recording the video bit there. You can turn that off if you so wish. Now under effects, you can change the effects, so you can have grayscale and Gaussian blur. And the most important one is probably the source. So by default, Pixar's photos are the ones that seem to work the best, but you can choose different ones. So for instance, I can choose Bing as a source. And I click apply now, and you can see it's changed the wallpaper. So Cutty Cat is one where it will show the website that you go to as a desktop wallpaper. So you need this thing called Cat installed. So if you go to menu and you go for your software manager, which is here, now that I've changed the menu, up here we can type in Cat and I've installed that. So what I've done here is I've put my YouTube channel in, and if I click apply, it should show my YouTube channel, but what it actually shows, if I minimize, is the accept all or reject all button. So that's not really worked out too well for me there, but you can put any website in there and it will render it as a image. We've got this Himawari World one here. Every time I do this, it seems to give me the same background. You can see it's got a percentage bar here showing how far through the download it is, and it always seems to show a picture of the planet from different angles. Another one you can use is Place Kitten. A bit hit and miss. You can see it's taken ages to come back with anything, so you can go to a different one. The last one is Unsplash, and this one actually tells you it can sometimes cause problems during peak times. Now I'm going to say it doesn't seem to matter what time you use, it doesn't really come back at all. But as you can see, that's a bit hit and miss. The one I find always works is this Pick Someone here. So if I click apply, this one always seems to work. Now that's not a very good picture, but we can change it quite easily, and there we go. You can change the resolution to suit your display output, and that's really how Better Backgrounds works. If we go back to our applets, Cinnamon menu, you can adjust that, and it lets you change different things about the layout, lets you change the behavior of the Cinnamon menu. You can change the search options, so the web search option is Google, but you can choose any one of these. You can change the appearance, and you can change, and you've got some tips here as well. So let's talk about the radio app. If I go into the settings for that, you can see we've got a list of radio stations. Now Britpop, look, so we can do this one here, click add to my stations, and you can see Britpop successfully added. We go to my stations and Britpop's been added, and we can turn it off if we want to, and we can add it back in if we want to. And if I now go down here, you can see Britpop is here as a radio station, and we've got a preferences tab that enables you to change different things about the radio app. So let's close that. You can download other applets, so if I click download, again it's sorted by popularity, so just work your way down and you can install them just by clicking the download arrow here. And if you want to enable or disable, you just click the one you want, and it's the plus arrow to enable and the minus arrow to disable. If you want to uninstall it, you just click this button here. So there's one more thing I want to show you. So if I open up a window, for instance a file manager, you can see it's completely solid at the moment, so you can't see through it. So if I press the Windows and F7 key, I can make the window transparent, and Windows and F6 makes it fully visible again. F7 makes it transparent, and F6 makes it fully opaque. So that, obviously having it like that means you can't see what's going on, but you can have a little bit of transparency. So I'll show you how to do that. And what you do is you go into the menu, you go to keyboard, and you want to go into the keyboard settings. And what you want to do is go to shortcuts, and you're looking for Windows, and if you scroll down, you've got this option for increase opacity. So you see I've got it Super F6 for increase, and decrease is Super F7. So I can change that by pressing the key I want to use. So let's say I want Windows F8 to be to make it transparent, and I want the Windows F7 to make it less transparent. Now when I use Windows F8, you see it makes it more transparent and less transparent. And that really is the end of the video. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you next time on Everyday Linux User.